Old age inevitably arrives in everyone's life, marking a new stage in the journey of existence. Yet, with it come numerous questions that many avoid confronting. Where is the best place to live? Should one remain independent or live with children? Is it better to accept the reality of moving into a nursing home? These questions don't have easy answers, as they involve far more than just choosing a physical space. They delve into issues of dignity, solitude, and what it means to live meaningfully in the twilight years. The idea of being near one's children during old age seems like a natural dream. After years of devotion to family, it feels like the right time to experience care, warmth, and support from those we once cared for. This expectation often aligns with the idea of family as a source of comfort and safety. Yet the reality may differ greatly from this ideal. Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, famously stated that family ties are built on necessity, not eternal gratitude. Children grow up, create their own lives, and naturally take on their own responsibilities. While love remains, the time available to spend with parents becomes scarce. Living with one's children does not necessarily mean being part of their lives. It often brings more disappointments than joy. The pace of modern life, where children have work commitments and grandchildren are absorbed in digital worlds, leaves little room for family connection. What seemed like an opportunity for closeness can, in fact, lead to feelings of alienation. An elderly person who moves in with their children may find themselves in a home where there is already an established dynamic. Differences in lifestyle, habits, and preferences quickly emerge, creating tension. The elderly person may feel they are a mere addition to the busy schedules of their children and grandchildren, struggling to find a place in their lives. As Schopenhauer warned, the greatest source of suffering comes from unrealistic expectations. This is particularly true when the elderly expect constant attention from their children, only to be disappointed by the modern realities of their lives. One elderly woman facing health challenges accepted her daughter's invitation to live with her. Initially, the idea seemed perfect: closeness, support, and the opportunity to strengthen family bonds. But as time passed, the truth became evident. Her daughter worked long hours, the son-in-law was often too tired to engage in conversation, and the grandchildren were too immersed in the virtual world to notice her presence. Despite being surrounded by family, the woman found herself experiencing unexpected loneliness. She spent hours in silence without anyone to talk to. The brief exchanges she had were shallow and functional, concerns about her health or requests to help with minor household chores. One day, when she tried to engage her daughter in conversation, the response was a casual, "Mom, I can't right now. I'm very busy." This moment was a painful realization that living with her family wasn't what she had envisioned. Her presence felt like an imposition on their lives rather than an integral part of them. Schopenhauer's insight about the futility of relying on others for constant happiness rings true here. Relying on children for companionship and attention may be a painful illusion, and partial independence might be the wiser choice. Living close to family, yet maintaining independence, allows one to retain autonomy without creating unrealistic expectations. Having your own space, even near your children, provides the opportunity to maintain your routine and dignity. It can help avoid the disillusionment that arises from being present in a home without feeling like a true participant in that space. Independence, at least partially, might be a more balanced and fulfilling option. Old age presents a dilemma between maintaining autonomy and fearing isolation. Schopenhauer taught that dependency leads to expectations, and with them, disappointment. But full independence can be anxiety-inducing, especially when health demands more attention. A middle ground solution exists: living alone but near family. This arrangement allows elderly individuals to retain their individuality and routines while still having access to support when needed. The key is not only where one lives, but how that stage of life is constructed. It is crucial to preserve dignity without sacrificing emotional well-being. Living with children might mean sacrificing your own life to conform to their schedules. Moving into a nursing home might feel like the final step into dependency. On the other hand, living alone requires planning and mental adjustment to value one's own company. But the critical question is not whether independence is possible, but whether it can also be comfortable. Many elderly people fear isolation, but fail to realize that true loneliness isn't simply the absence of people, it's the absence of meaning. Schopenhauer viewed solitude not as a burden, but as a refuge for those who understand the nature of human relationships. He argued that solitude often brings greater peace than being surrounded by superficial interactions. Many people live surrounded by others but still feel lonely. True independence doesn't mean isolation, but rather a choice to be content with one's own company. One elderly man, for example, after losing his wife, faced a difficult decision: where to spend his remaining years. His son offered him a room in his house, but the man hesitated, not wanting to feel like a burden. He ultimately rented a small apartment a few blocks away from his son's house. This allowed him to maintain his routine and independence, but still be close enough to receive help if needed. At first, he struggled with the loneliness, the empty nights, and the quiet meals. But over time, he began to see the unexpected benefits. He was able to wake up when he wanted, cook meals at his own pace, and spend more time reading and walking. He could visit his son and grandchildren whenever he wanted, without feeling like he was intruding into their busy lives. This arrangement didn't just offer him physical space. It provided the mental and emotional freedom he needed to live with dignity and peace. As Schopenhauer said, life becomes easier when we stop fighting what we cannot control. The elderly man learned that old age doesn't have to be a burden or something to regret. It's simply another phase of life to be lived with grace. The lesson of independence is that being alone doesn't always mean being lonely. Old age can be a time for reflection and freedom if one learns to embrace it without unrealistic expectations. Having your own space, not being directly dependent on children, allows you to preserve your sense of identity and autonomy. Schopenhauer believed that the greatest happiness comes from being self-sufficient. Independence, when possible, is not isolation, but rather a gift. It enables the elderly to live by their own rules without feeling pressured to conform to the demands of others. The idea of nursing homes often evokes fear and resistance, as many associate them with abandonment. The thought of being isolated from family and losing control over one's life seems unbearable. For centuries, family culture has emphasized that parents should care for their children for life. But is this ideal realistic? Does every nursing home equate to a loss of dignity, or could it represent an opportunity to live well in old age? Schopenhauer argued that it's not the place where we live that matters, but the quality of life we experience there. The truth is that many elderly people spend their final years isolated in their homes, often without proper care or company. Living in one's own house doesn't always guarantee comfort or happiness, and nursing homes aren't always places of loneliness. The quality of life in such a place depends on how well the elderly person is treated and the opportunities they are given. Resistance to nursing homes often stems from a romanticized view of old age, where the ideal is to be surrounded by children and grandchildren. However, this is not always possible or beneficial. Modern life's pace, with busy careers and digital distractions, makes it difficult for families to provide constant attention. Moreover, health issues may require specialized care that family members can't provide. In a good nursing home, elderly people can find companionship, safety, and meaningful activities. Instead of feeling like a burden to their families, they may experience a higher quality of life in a place designed to meet their needs. One elderly man, who had always rejected the idea of moving to a nursing home, lived alone for many years, seeing his children only on weekends. But as his health declined, his children insisted that he consider moving into a nursing home. Initially reluctant, he agreed and soon discovered something unexpected. He found that the company of others his age with similar experiences helped alleviate his loneliness. He joined in activities, rediscovered his love for board games, and even took part in outings organized by the home. In time, he formed new friendships, including one with a childhood friend who also lived there. Schopenhauer's insight that suffering arises from resisting change rings true here. The elderly man learned that his initial resistance was worse than the reality of nursing home life. Of course, not all nursing homes provide the level of care one might expect, so it's crucial to choose a place with good conditions. But this lesson applies to any decision in old age. Quality of life depends on context, not just location. Many people resist nursing homes because they idealize family care, but the reality of family life doesn't always match that ideal. A nursing home can provide companionship and care that might be missing at home. The key takeaway from all these scenarios is that old age need not be a time of regret or burden. It is a phase of life like any other, and how we navigate it depends on the decisions we make and the expectations we set. As Schopenhauer said, wisdom lies in accepting life as it is, not as we wish it would be. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective can help other people think about this important choice. And to receive more stories and reflections like this, subscribe to our channel. Like the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any new content. Take care of yourself. See you later.